Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an M10. It's a Tier 5 American turreted tank destroyer. It's located on the north spawn of Halluf and it's under the command of Sunshinebilly. Now he's got the 105mm derp gun, which is the gun I favour on this Arty because it's so capable of doing extreme damage to enemy tanks. And at Tier 5 you can penetrate some of the enemy. Even, well, Tier 4 tanks can be wiped out with one shot. It's capable of doing 410 alpha, penetrating 53mm of armour, and it's got a burst radius of just under 2 meters. Game started. Now, the Americans produced 6,706 of this tank destroyer between 1942 and 1944, and from 1944 onwards, they started manufacturing the Jackson and the Hellcat instead because they were much more capable with the standard 76mm gun that this tank was issued with. The 76mm gun was good, but when it came to 1944, the Americans were up against Panthers. He's been spotted. And the Panther had much better armour that was angled, and they had difficulty penetrating that. So in fact, actually, most M10s, as they were known by the Americans, they were called M10s, they weren't called Wolverines, that was the British who called them that. He bounced around from that BT7, and in fact he sent him a light and blew him up. Yeah, but the M10s, most of them were actually used for indirect fire from 1944 onwards because they just simply could not penetrate German tanks they were up against. They could probably get away with destroying maybe a Panzer IV or a Panzer III, but since they were up against Panthers and Tigers, yeah, they had a lot of difficulty trying to defeat them. And so instead, they were relegated to indirect fire, and they actually had the equipment so they could fire like Arty. Now, some people are tempted to play the M10 like a medium tank. He even says that in the wiki. But that would be a big disaster because the turret rotation or traverse on this tank is pretty weak, and of course it's very slow as well. It's based on the M4 hull, so it's a fairly familiar hull. Oh, it's been spotted again, and yeah, the IKV 103 managed to get around into him for 278, so that was not a good idea. Should have pulled back the moment that alarm went off because obviously he had been spotted by something that was capable of damaging him. Now the M10 was actually also given to the French, and you can see one of those in the distance. That's an M10 RBFM, and they had the 76mm gun, and it's very, very capable. In fact, it's a very good premium French tank destroyer, that one. But with the 105mm derp gun, you can have a lot of fun blowing the enemy completely to pieces. You saw how he dealt with that BT7. He bounced the round that came up at him, which of course was coming up at the angled armour, and it bounced off. But the BT7, I'm afraid, such thin skin on his armour, he couldn't survive the shot. It looks like that IKV as well fired a heat round at him, because you can see there's a purple stain there from the heat round. Okay, there are enemy tanks in the middle of the map at the moment. He's looking towards the looks, where the looks was. Can't see it though. There he is. Okay, our Stug 3G's come down to try and deal with that looks, and unfortunately instead he got taken out by him instead. So in fact we've got another tank down there, the Panzer III. He's pulled out a bit further to get a shot in, and look at that. Wiped out the Panzer IIIJ with one shot. So it's well capable of destroying Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs, but you wouldn't want to take on a Panther with this tank destroyer. And in fact, actually, the Panther, which is at Tier 7, can see this particular tank destroyer. So yeah, if you do see a Panther, watch out, because your rounds will probably bounce off him, and then he'll turn around and fire his 75mm gun into you, and well, in a few shots he can wipe you out. He's looking for that looks to come up that path. Reload time with the 105mm gun is 6.5 seconds, as you can see here, 6.58. But with the 76mm gun, it's about 3 and a bit seconds, which is, again, quite reasonable considering it is a 76mm. And in fact, most of the Hellcats were actually mounted the 76mm gun when they first came into service, because they didn't have enough 90mm guns to make them work. Or rather to fit the 90mm, which they wanted to. The Leopard's come up behind the Looks, and yes, he's done to the Looks what the Looks did to our Grilla. So 2 kills so far for Sunshine Billy. Can he get some more? There are 3 tanks down on the enemy at the moment, so there's a lot of enemy out there for him to kill. Trouble is, his team are not doing so well. Yes, I suppose really the reason why, and we finally got the sound in. Yes, there was a problem with that client that we couldn't get the sound into the game from the vehicle until sort of like late on in the game. I should have excused that from the start, but there you go. That was a mistake by Wargaming. I think they updated the client, and when they did, unfortunately something went wrong. But we've got the sound back anyway. Well, it looks like Sunshine Billy has gone totally defensive. He's actually now occupying the heights above his own cap to shoot at the enemy when they come towards the cap. They've lost the northwest corner of the map. They're headed this way. We've got an M8 A1 and a T40 trying to stop them getting here. But this will be a good sniping position, which he can poke out using these gaps between the rocks to get shots on the enemy and then get them back into cover. The unfortunate thing is that he's got so many enemy tanks to kill, 8 in total, which is not good. Or is it less than 8? Well, it's 6 now. It was 7, sorry. It's only 6 now for him to kill. It was a short numbers game. It was only 14 players either side. Okay, the IKV that hit him earlier in the game's come up through that pass. He's behind the rock at the moment, so we can't get a shot on him. Should be able to make short work of that Panzer IV Aslains H. He's only got one other teammate still alive, and that's the Leopard. He's down in the valley. And he's now all alone against 6 opponents, which means that he's on for a Kolobanov if he can survive this game. And the IKV is in the cap, and now he's dead. Yeah, I suppose that's fair compensation. Okay, now who's going to be the next player to come in and get wiped out? He's having a quick look to see if anyone's coming up towards him. Well, somebody's in the cap, and there they are. It's the M8A1. Now, he's not like to survive a direct hit from a 105mm. It will penetrate his armour. Oh, he was very lucky to survive. It was a low roll for 369. If he'd had a high roll, that M8A1 would have been back in the garage, but he'll get him in the next shot, and he's out the game. M8A1, the Scot, does not have much in the way of armour. And there's an Su-76 GFT, the Chinese tank destroyer, and he's wiped out with 1 round, and that is now a Top Gun. Still 3 enemy out there. DW2, who takes a round and bounces the round that came back, and potentially that's a high caliber. Tries another shot and gets another hit. The DW2 is capping. He bounced another round from him. See, DW2, it's got the 5cm gun, but it's just not capable of getting through the angled armour, because Sunshine Billy is well angled there. He goes for another one. And yes, he got the kill. So he's now got 7 kills, 1 short of getting a Radley's. Repositioning. Ooh. Yes, I think he took that a little fast. This vehicle does not maneuver very well. Oh, lucky shot from the B1. Took him out. Oh, dear me. He was doing so well, and the B1 got a lucky shot in. And here's the end of battle results for Sunshine Billy in the M10. He managed to get an ace tanker in that game. He did well enough to get the ace. In fact, he did quite a lot of damage, really. He got an arsonist because he set light to one of the enemy tanks. That was BT7, I think it was. And he burned to death. And he also got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. And a bruised medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 20 in total. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and he got a top gun. He got 7 kills. He was 1 short of getting a Radley's, but a lucky shot from that B1 managed to finish his game, and rather sad really, because he had more than enough capability of taking out that B1, and he would have got a collar ban off if he killed all the enemy tanks. His win rate from that game was 10,198, which is more than Super Unicum. In fact, very, very good game from him. Let's have a look at team score. 2,124 hit points of damage from that game. The next high score was the SU-76G FT that he took out. He had 1,726, and the one after that was the T1 Heavy, 1,640. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those with 7. 3 kills to the T1 Heavy, the Panzer IV Ausstellung H, who's the last one alive apart from that B1, and or was there? I think there may have been one other. And they got 3 kills each, and then there's 4 tanks who managed to get 2 kills. When it came to base XP, it was the T1 Heavy that did the best with 869. 737 went to the Panzer IV H, and 697 went to Sunshine Billy. So he beat all but 2 of the enemy team. And it should be noted that the Char B1 that actually took him out, that was a bot. Yes, I'm afraid so. Got killed by the AI in the game, but still all the same, he put up a good fight. 16 shots fired, 12 direct hits, 5 penetrations, 7 splash. Damage of 2,124 hit points, of which 868 were at more than 300 meters. He received 7 hits from the enemy, 3 of which penetrated. The armor on the M10 is fairly light, so most of the shots are going to go through, and it was unfortunate that that B1 shot did go through the side armor and took him out. 4 non-penetrating shots as well. Those are the ones which the DW2 was fired, and he was well enough angled that the DW2 shells just couldn't get through the armour. 420 hit points of damage blocked by the armour. 7 enemy vehicles were damaged, 7 were killed, and 57 hit points of damage assistance, plus 66 defence points in the cap. If he'd actually defended a little bit more, I think he probably would have ended up with a defender medal as well. On a premium count, he earned 33,797 credits from the game, got 50,000 for completing the mission events, and 4,082 for courageous resistance because he got an epic, or in fact he got 2 battle hero medals in a losing or drawn game. 87,878 credits together. After repair and ammunition resupply, and yes, he did use standard ammo throughout, it was HE rounds, he ended up with 82,803 credits from a tier 5 game. That's a very good total for a tier 5 tank destroyer. 1,045 XP, 580 for courageous resistance, took away 1,626 experience points altogether. That was an incredibly good game actually. If you look at the results and the fact that the win rate was so high, then you'd have to say that Sunshine Billy has a very good chance of getting Radley's and even maybe Paul's medals with his M10, because he shows enough class to be able to take out the enemy. He knew when he was in a difficult situation to relocate to a position where he could snipe at the enemy and avoid getting shot by the enemy. It was only when he repositioned that the B1 got a chance to shoot him and killed him, I'm afraid. But yes, he did get hit by that IKV-103 earlier on during the battle, and he lost a lot of hit points to that shot. and he did get a warning that he was spotted, but he didn't pull back in time, and I think that was his only failing throughout the battle, really, that he didn't pull back when he had a chance, and as a consequence he lost a lot of hit points. If he had not taken that shot from the IKV, I think he would have won, and he would have got his collarband off easily, and he would have got a Radlers as well. So keep going, Sunshine Billy, you're gonna get it sooner or later. If you play the M10 like this, you are going to get big scores. I hope you enjoyed that replay, and if you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and of course it helps the player, because if they see that you liked it and you leave a comment, then obviously they'll take that to heart, and maybe they'll do better in the next game and prove that yes, they can do it. And thank you for watching.